Shazam, son.
Boom, bro.
Alex here.
Laura over here.
And we are listening to the WeArePR
Podcast.
Yes, it's getting better every single week.
Gosh.
I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it.
Random fact of the day.
No, remember the structure.
I'm gonna forget it by the time it's the end.
Oh my gosh, we have to wait till the end. We do the question of the day, then we expand on it for us, and then it is the question, then it is
remember the structure.
Why can't I think? The random fact of the day.
Okay.
So, question of the day. What are our thoughts on starting a company on a business loan? I'm going to expand their question. They initially said business loan, but I'm going to expand it to just any sort of donation, whether that's you have a VC or an angel investor, or you run a Kickstarter, or however. What are our thoughts about starting a company that's not rooted in your money? Shazam, go. Oh, we got to make this podcast quick. We only have 2 bars of battery left.
That'll last a while.
Okay.
So my initial thought was that, with that, it kind of came, under the impression that you were going to do a business loan. And that, for me, is kind of scary because the second that you take out that loan, you're immediately starting to make payments on that. Because Alex said it's basically like a mortgage, you have monthly payments. And the thing is that it's if you don't start making enough money right away, you're gonna be taking that money out of your own paycheck or your own savings initially anyways. So unless you're making enough to make that monthly payment, and you don't want to just be able to make that monthly payment, then you're gonna be accruing a lot of interest. You're gonna put more money towards money that's not even yours than you really are I don't know if that made any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And we're not really experts with how business loans are set up because we did not run with one. But I'm sure there's a period of time when you get one. Would you stop fidgeting, child?
Sorry.
Let me get you a fidget spinner. No, that'd make more noise than what you're doing now. I'm sure there's a period of time where you're allowed to kind of make your money and kind of build up your bank before you have to start. This isn't funny because no one can see what you're doing. No one can see your invisible fidget spinner. So imagine Laura sitting here flicking an invisible fidget spinner. And that's where we're at right now. That's about how much attention we have. Pull it together.
Sorry.
But I'm assuming there's a payback period with a business loan and where you can kind of build up your bank. But my honest opinion, and I understand there are some companies like an insurance company or if you want to start something like that where you need a large initial investment, then yes, I understand where it would make sense to do that. And I'm not against it. I think that it's very specific and very situation based. I think right now, with the market being as well as it is, I think there's a lot of people that are willing to take more risks and willing to invest in things, maybe more than there was a couple years ago when we kind of hit the recession and people weren't investing in random startups as much. But the other thing I thought about was Kickstarter, which is basically starting a business or a campaign or whatever it is through donations. And I think that Kickstarter is great for people who will actually use it. I think your dreams are going to come crashing apart if you just put up a business on Kickstarter and say, hey, I need $100,000 to make this work. Everyone donate to me, kind of thing. No one's going to do that. The one that I saw recently was for a West Side Barbell film. And they had a Kickstarter goal of $100,000, and they had raised $60,000. But they had different tiers. So if you donated $20, you got XYZ package. If you donated $100, you got XYZ. If you donated $1,000, $10,000, they had different tiers. So not only were you donating to a cause for them to make their film, but you were getting something in return. And I don't have Kickstarter experience because I've never actually ran a Kickstarter campaign, but that would be about the only way that I would be involved with helping someone out, I guess. Unless I personally knew who they were, I probably wouldn't donate. I can tell you for a fact I would not donate money to a random person because they had a Kickstarter and they said this is a good idea. There's just not enough. You're not giving people anything in return. And that's my thoughts on Kickstarter. As far as pitching your idea to other people, I think it's very situational based, and you need to weigh the pros and cons for yourself. For us, it didn't make sense, and I still don't think it does, because if you accept other people's money, if it were me, I would feel like I owed them something for the rest of my life. Even if I took a $10,000 loan and I paid that $10,000 back, I would still feel like, hey, look, they gave me that initial investment. If they didn't give me that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Yeah. I don't like leaning on people that much, especially people who are only in it for the financial gain. So my honest opinion on it is I don't have negative thoughts towards it. I think it will work. I think you can run a great Kickstarter campaign. I think you can do a great business started by a loan, because, I mean, the fact of the matter is plenty of people have done it.
Yeah, people do it every day.
There's people that do it every single day, so it's not a matter of if it works or if it doesn't work.
And I feel like if you're gonna invest in a loan, I feel like more people do that because they've already quit their job, or like, it's more of I'm not working a 40-hour-a-week job and trying to do this. It's I'm going all in on this, and whether I think of it in like a construction company or something like that, where they need the loan to get
just
all of these tools and all of the material to get this one project going, and that if that project pans out, then they're gonna have 3 other projects lined up after that. Like, that's a good way to think of it, because that is going to be their full-time job, and they have to make a very large initial investment in all of the equipment that they need, because the average Joe that wants to start a company like that isn't gonna have $20,000 and be able to get 4 trucks for their crew on that kind of thing.
So I think it's very situational based.
Yeah.
Here's my one request going forward. If you're going to ask a question of the week, can we make them more specific? So I would love to know what you were asking about with a Kickstarter campaign or taking a business. I would love to know what your business is. I don't need the full elevator pitch. I just need I'm trying to run an insurance company, or I'm trying to start a media company, or whatever.
So that way our answer can be specific to you.
Yes, context lets us get much, much, much more specific.
Yeah.
Good answer?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So, why didn't we go with the business loan, or even consider that? Because honestly, I didn't even consider it. That thought never once crossed my mind.
No, I didn't either. And I think it's because, as much as you want this to be a business, you can invest in something like screen printing as a hobby. It's not the most expensive thing in the world to do. If you want to get a really good press, yeah, you could take out a business loan and buy that, $40,000
package?
Yeah, package off of, off the internet kind of thing. And that could set you up really well for anything you want to do. But just starting out in something like this, especially if you're just learning it, you don't always want to start out with that $40,000 expense. You're going to gradually grow into those more expensive purchases as you progress your craft. And so I think when you initially started this, it was kind of I'm learning how to do this, so I'm going to allot, this much money, and I'm going to get this piece of equipment that's going to allow me to learn on, and then eventually, as things get better, we'll invest in something better.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing with screen printing and things that are more craft related is, let's just stick with us specifically. I started this with the sole intention of doing our own clothing line. I didn't start this with the intention of doing customization for anyone and their brother who wanted it. That may have changed my decision making in the beginning, but I had a very clear goal of what I wanted and where I wanted to be at. And that did not require me to sink $30,000 on an automatic press that would make every single shirt perfect. That required me to drop $200 not a piece of junk, but a very low-end press made in China. Doesn't hold anything excessively tight. It needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of love to make it work, but it still works. And because I have that, I understand the principles of it so much more. I understand the principles of having to line up your screens, how close they have to be. I understand the principle of off contact and screen height and screen tension and all those little things, because all those little things are amplified when you have a junk system. Not a junk system, but a lower end system. If I would have started off on that $30,000 press, everything would have been taken care of for me. I wouldn't have had to worry about screen registration or press height or anything like that. It would have already been taken care of, which would be nice, but I don't have that kind of money to sink into it.
And it, like, as you're learning, it's good to know those basic things, because if anyone was to ask you about that, you would have been like, well, I don't have any idea because I have this really nice and automatically calibrated press. And it's like,
yeah, the other side of that is when you do get to the point where you are buying that higher end material, the higher end quality equipment, if something goes wrong, you know why. It's not, I gotta hire a consultant to come tell me why this screen isn't turning out as well as it should be. No, you know that, oh, there's too much ink on the shirt, looks like I need to adjust this and this, because I've seen this before.
yep.
The other thing is, I think people overcomplicate it. I think people want to start off with everything perfect. In our situation, I literally started off with a press and screens that I made in my garage. Not even my garage, my parents' garage. I used 2x4s and this nonsense, it's like a curtain is what it was literally like some drapes that I bought from Walmart that had tiny holes, and that's what I made our entire first run of shirts on.
In a staple gun, essentially.
A staple gun, yep. And we've got, I mean, I don't know, I don't think I filmed anything. I wish I would have filmed stuff when I was doing that.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I've still got some of the original screens, and I still kept the original base of my press, because that's what I mounted the newer one onto. But, I mean, that's what I did. I used an oven to cook the logos. Like, you don't need a huge... I think too many people overcomplicate it. They want to move through things way too quick. And it just takes a lot more money. And if you have that kind of money, I would highly suggest you don't take that route. I would much rather see someone spend less money on the equipment, get the process down, and spend more money up front on advertising, because I think that's where you're going to make more of it back at. And as you keep going into this, you can upgrade your equipment as you go, but you can't upgrade your audience. You can't upgrade the amount of people or the kind of people that you have that are supporting you, which is why I love the way that we've done it, is because I literally have people who have bought the first round of shirts who still support us to this day, who have watched every single YouTube video, who have followed every single Instagram post, who follow our Twitter and our Facebook page, and they legitimately care about this, is because they've seen it from where we were in our little apartment with baking shirts to make the ink stay on them, to where we're at now, where we've got a garage and we've got the whole press and real screens and all that. People like seeing that process. And I don't feel like there'd be a very cool progression and story behind it if we would have just started out at step 42 instead of step 1.
Right.
The other thing I touched on was I don't like taking money and owing people anything. I think that's another thing that why I didn't even really consider it, is because I don't want to be held accountable to anybody else. I don't want anyone to hold that over my head. Even if I'd paid them back with interest and all that nonsense, I don't want them to say, oh, well, they're $1 million company now. I'm the first person who invested in them. They wouldn't be anywhere without my initial $5,000 investment.
Yeah.
I don't want people to do that, because at the end of the day, yes, your $5,000 would have helped me, but you sure as heck didn't do anything to help get us here besides the monetary investment. So that's about what I've got. on our side why we did not take one. Did you just lock up my zip tie? Oh, gosh.
Still, random fact of the day.
Get on to the random fact. You've been dying to let this go.
Did you know?
You literally did not talk during that so you could get to this. That's why this is only a 15-minute podcast so far.
I didn't know what to say.
Fair enough. You're not really involved with like the monetary business side of it.
Not really.
I mean,
to the point I am. I mean,
you are, but it's.
But I don't do all the loans. I mean, we didn't do a loan,
Yeah.
so as far as I know, there's not really much there.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, get on to your fun fact of the day.
Yeah, fun fact of the day. Did you know that human saliva has a boiling point of 3 times that of normal water?
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
What in the saliva?
I don't know.
I wonder. Because it's more than just. I figured it was mostly water.
I did too, but I mean, obviously, there's probably different chemical compounds because it helps break down food and.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Normal water doesn't. I mean, it softens, but it doesn't necessarily start the breakdown process. But that's like the first step of digestion.
So if you leave like a piece of chicken in your mouth and don't chew it, will your saliva break it down?
I think to a point it starts it, but it doesn't actually. I don't know.
Here's a test. So I'm gonna need your help on this. We've got that liter bottle right there. Mm-hmm. I would like to collect a liter of saliva.
Ew, disgusting.
So over the course of the hear me out. Over the course of the oh my gosh, I'm gonna punch you. Over the course of the next week.
No.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna spit in this bottle. And at the end of the week, we're gonna drop a piece of chicken in it and see how long it takes.
No, that's disgusting. We are not doing that.
Okay, we're gonna do it.
Nope. It's not happening.
Wait for the Instagram picture.
It's not happening.
Last time I said there's gonna be an Instagram picture, we didn't do an Instagram picture of you banging your head against the wall because they're supposed to burn 300 calories an hour. I said Laura was gonna be our test.
Nope.
So yeah, if you know what's in spit, saliva.
Yeah, that causes it to boil at a temperature
that is interesting.
3 times longer. I don't. Yeah.
Huh. You just said temperature 3 times longer.
Temperature 3 times higher.
There you go. Okay, next podcast, I think we're gonna have to go somewhere where there's nothing for us to touch. But you keep sitting here playing with this zip tie. I've got a screwdriver in my hand.
Twist tie.
We gotta do something. We need a more professional setup besides our. I hope it picks up every single one of these noises because you are driving me bonkers right now.
I barely made a sound.